Hello, this is mini lesson number 1 on harmony. Harmony is simply when you have more than one note sounding at the same time. This is not harmony. That is just one note sounding, C. This is harmony. Two notes sounding at the same time, C and E. This is also harmony. Three notes sounding at the same time, C, E, and G. This is still harmony. Four notes sounding at the same time, C, E, G, and B. Even this is harmony. It may not be pretty, but it's still a type of harmony. This is from our Elements of Music class notes, Roman numeral 9. Harmony is when you have more than one note sounding at the same time. Now, there are two basic types of harmony. One is consonant harmonies, which is notes that blend well together. Dissonant harmonies are notes that clash when you play them together. Consonant harmonies are made up of chords, which are three or more consecutive lines or three or more consecutive spaces. This note is on a line, E, so if we add two more lines above it, we have three consecutive lines, E, G, and B. It sounds like that. It can be more than three consecutive lines. We could have four consecutive lines, E, G, B, D, which would sound like that. You can also build chords on spaces. This one is F. If we add two more spaces above it, we have FAC. FAC. And we could also make that a four-note chord if we wanted to by stacking a fourth consecutive space, FACE. Now, sometimes you might have a chord, but it might not look like a chord at first. For example, this EGB chord, we can flip those notes around into a different order. Instead of having E on the bottom, we could move E up to the top. Then we would have E at the top, then B, then G. So instead of EGB, we have GBE. That is still the same chord, even though it doesn't look like three consecutive lines anymore. That is called inversion when you flip around the notes of a chord. So it doesn't look like a chord, but it still is a chord. We could also invert it by putting the B on the bottom. We could put B down here, then the E, then the G. It doesn't look like a chord, but it still is a chord. B, E, G. It's the same chord that we started with the notes in a different order. So keep in mind that chords do not always look like neat little snowmen stacked on three consecutive lines or three consecutive spaces. Sometimes the notes are flipped around or inverted. So inversion is flipping around the notes of a chord. It may not look like a chord anymore, but it is still a chord. Now, over here on the dissonant side, clusters, also known as tone clusters, are tightly packed notes. They look like this. These are tone clusters, or just clusters for short. The notes are tightly packed together. They look sort of like a cluster of grapes on a vine. This first one is E, F, G, A. The second one is F, G, A, B, C, all played together at the same time. The frequencies of these notes, the speed of their vibrations, the speed of their sound waves, the number of vibrations per second, are very close together. And as a result, we hear them as clashing. These are spread out a little bit. The E, G, and B, those notes are spread out a little bit so that their frequencies don't seem to conflict as much when we hear the notes together.